Hello, today I'm going to share with you some updates in the combat system. Uh, First of all, let's walk through the system itself from scratch from the start. So you add the combat component to your character. Then you will add a fighting style, which you will create by right clicking and go to combat system. Then select fighting style. The main thing in this version is that the combat component itself has so many overridable functions that you need to implement, so you will have to also create a combat component and not use the C++ version, because this version here allows you to first of all provide a tracing function and then handling the health reduction and also getting the current health, the current poise, the max health, the max poise, because if you have a custom properties for these variables, you will be able to use that. Maybe you want to integrate it with gas, so you will have a gas attribute and then get the gas attribute through these functions. Okay, and then after you adding so these overridable functions are meant to help us ditch the body attributes, so now you don't have to use the body attributes anymore. And then you will have these settings that you will provide, like the quick pattern dead zone, which is how fast can you perform a pattern of inputs before it's being legal to perform any special attacks. So like if you press the AAB, maybe an all arcade game, so you have this 0.35 second window to do the whole sequence, or this sequence is not going to be valid, and so on and so forth. Okay, then you will add here also the target type, the tracing type for tracing for targets, and you have some debugging stuff here, and everything is just straightforward. Nothing is fancier here. The most important thing is to know that these are the delegates that the system will give you, so you can hook your custom logics. First of all, we have the pre-motion motion warping and post-motion warping. These are meant if you are using a custom warping logic and you want to perform your own warping logic, you will use those. The system will call those and will not perform any warping behind the scene for you. But if you want to use the built-in warping, you just use the combat warping notify, and that will do everything for you. Okay, then you have the damage period started, the damage period ended, and these are meant to override the method of tracing during the damage period. So if you want to have a custom damage, you can use those. And here I'm using the melee weapon plugin to do my tracing, which is a frame dependent tracing system for melee attacks, because sometimes if your attack is very fast, you will skip some frames, and sometimes you will miss the target due to that. But using this plugin is very useful to do this. So whenever the damage period is started, I'm starting a sweep, and whenever the damage period is ended, I'm stopping the sweep of my melee weapon. Okay, and then I'm using the result from the sweep to pass it to the component to say, hey, this is the damage, this is the damaged actors, so you can perform damage on them. See here, on them, then the melee weapon hits, I get the collision, I get the hit results, and then I'm going to tell the combat component, hey, we are hitting this target, so you will pass the hit result, and then the attack tag, which we cached from the starting of the damage period. So you can know if you have multiple weapons, each weapon is being used in certain attacks, like you have a shield that will perform a montage and hit with the shield, or you have a sword also and you can hit with the sword. So if the animation was attacking with the shield, then you will use this tag to know which mesh or which component to use for sweeping. Okay, and okay, this is the main things about the component itself and the settings and the delegates. Now for the juicy part is the fighting style. In the fighting style, you will have this new editor instead of a data asset. Now we have a toolkit for that, and you can switch from vertical to horizontal if you want to see more. And the system asks you for a preview mesh, which is also used to define the compatible animations. So if you want to see only the animations that are you planning to use with the owner of this style, you will provide a mesh, then you will see all of the compatible animations here, so you don't have to exit for the content browser. You will have everything you need here. Just set up your data. The system is data driven, so anything you set here is going to change how the combat is filled, how the combat feels and how the combat is behaving. So first of all, we have the attack types. Let me just collapse everything. Okay, so we have the attack types. This one is meant to have, like, if you have a light attack, a heavy attack, a two-hand attack, and so on and so forth, you will add them here. So here I added a button A, and I call it light attack, and I have a button B that will perform a heavy attack. Okay, and each button, after you provide it with a tag, you will provide a list of animations that will be looping through them as a combo. So if you press A, you will go through this list, and if you press B, you will go through this list. And you can also add more attacks here. Let's say I want to add the 2 hands 4. So now I added a new animation, but you see that I have this warning here. It tells me that something is wrong, so I want to see what's wrong. So the animation report tells you that, hey, you need an input dead zone and a damage period and a combat motion warping notify to have this animation valid and does not break the combat. When I say break the combat, I mean like the combat is stuck in a certain state because it enters to play this animation and nothing is setting it back to the default values. So let's go here and add the notifiers that we need. So I'm going to add my input dead zone, which is the area that we are going to block the inputs so we don't spam the attack. So until I reach here, I want my inputs to be blocked. Okay, then I'm going to add a new notify track, and here I'm going to add my damage period, which is the duration of the damage. So my swing will start doing damage from here, so I'm going to take my damage from here until I reach the end, and like this, all of this is going to be tracing for damage. So I'm going to say this is my damage. Okay, I think we can also actually increase the amount of input dead zone here. Now I need to add another notify track, which is going to be for the combat motion warping, which is, you don't have to set anything in this one. It's automatically set to the proper values, so you just need to set this one, and I want to reach my target until I reach this point here. I need to be in the proper place for my attack. So now this is everything, and I'm going to save, and I come back to my fighting style. I see that everything is fixed, but now I got a yellow triangle. This is telling me that, hey, the notifiers are true, but you have one thing missing, which is is root motion enabled in the animation. So you will also go here. Now this time go to the animation itself and enable the root motion here. So the system is guiding you so you don't make a mistake, and everything will work fine if you just follow what the system is telling you. After you update the animation, you can press analyze just to double check everything is good. Now everything is good. Now I'm going to save, and now let's go and see something else. After we saw the attack types, I can see now the modifiers. The modifier is a button. If being pressed during certain type of attacks, it will swap that list with a new list of attacks. So if I press arrow up during I'm doing the light attack, I'm going to do a high slash attacks. Okay, and for the chain attack, here if I press let's say you see that we have a light attack, right? If I press light attack, light attack, light attack, this is going to be chain of attacks, right? So if you have a certain chain of attack that happened, you can actually perform a special attack if a certain chain is being made, like light, heavy, heavy, light, light, something like that. You can get a proper attack. Let's see that in few minutes. Now we have the press pattern, and this is what we talked about earlier when we defined the quick pattern dead zone. Here we define two buttons, or many if you want, and each button is going to have a certain letter or a certain tag. Okay, then you will use those tags to write a quick pattern like AAB, BBA, something like that. Okay, let me AAB. Okay, so the idea here is this one is meant to press the whole pattern in that small window, and then a special attack will happen. If you didn't do that, then the special attack will not happen. But the chain attack is requiring you to finish certain attacks and go to the next and go to the next, and when a chain of successful attacks happen, then something special will happen. Now then you will have the reactions, which is very straightforward. You have two types, a tag based and a hybrid based. The tag based is just saying, hey, the slash is going to have this reaction no matter from what direction I got hit. And where you will find this slash, or where will you define it? Let's open let's say this two hand slash. You have the damage period. Here you will provide your slash. So maybe your animation has a slash, a kick, and something else. Each damage period will have its own tag, and this tag will have its own reaction here. Okay, if you set it to be hybrid, then you will have to add let's see, I don't have any elements here, but you will add one element, and this is, let's say this is slash. Okay, then the slash you will add from forward, from the right, from backward, from left. Each one will have its own reaction if you have this if you're using the hybrid. But we're not using the hybrid, we're using the tag base because I don't have animation for each case. Okay, now for the executions, let me just collapse the attacks. Okay, for the execution we have two types of executions. We have a regular execution and a custom execution. For if you have the default value is going to be like this, but if you use custom, you will see that we hide some variables, so you don't have to change everything. You just need to define the tag, define the damage that is coming from this execution, and define the button that will trigger the execution. Okay, so I'm here, I have two because I want to showcase this one. So from if I press A while the target is being stunned, I'm going to perform a jab animation, and and the tag is going to be execution, and I want to rotate the target to face me, and I have the offset. If you want to add an offset to yourself while you are performing that attack, and also are the conditions. I need to be in this distance, in this direction from the target, and then you will have this is the damage. We have the standing distance, and we have the direction that you are required to do. And then you have the custom execution. The custom execution will not play any animation. It will trigger a delegate, like let's do this an owner, perform an execution, and here I'm getting the target, I'm getting the execution tag. You can use the execution tag to get the proper contextual animation, and then you will pass your parameters to the contextual animation, and then you will play the contextual animation scene. What is the contextual animation? The contextual animation is this scene. You can have any actors you want, any amount of actors. You can you have execution that requires a table. So if a table and the target and the attacker are in the correct rules that you have define here in the criteria area, then you can see that the execution, how it runs, the offset between the actors and so on. And this is actually the same thing like this one is here, but this one has a visual tool which is made by Epic Games. So we support both ways. If you want to use a animation montage directly and then set up your offsets here, or you want to use the custom execution and use the contextual animation from here. Okay, now let's start playing first and see what we have. So let's go away, and let's say this is the regular animation. Now if I press up, you can see that I'm doing this one. Now if I press AAB, I will do this because I defined that in the fighting side. So let's add a chain of attacks. Okay, we have the chain attack. I'm going to add, let's say if I pressed light, light, light. You can see that we have 3 light animations, so maybe I want to make a special attack when I do the 4th light. So let's say light, 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 light. I'm going to do maybe, let's say a knee attack. Okay, let's save this one. Now let's also add another one, and this one let's say light, and now let's do a heavy one. So if I press light, heavy, where is the other list? Okay, light, heavy. Let's say I did light and I did heavy, then I did light, light, heavy, light. I will do a special attack. Let's say I will do the do we have, okay, the round kick seems to be good, so I'm going to add my round kick. And let's add some stuff. We don't need to do this because I'm just explaining some stuff. So let's go fast so we don't stretch the video long. So we have the new stuff added, so let's start by playing. So we said light, light, light. The first light will be the knee. So see, now we have a special attack happened because we have the special chain happened. Now we have light, heavy, light, light, heavy, light. Now you can see that it performed the right the round kick. Okay, and now I think this is most of the features. You have this to tell you that if you're doing something wrong, you have a data assets that you provide a description for the combat, and the combat system will work. And if you notice that we don't have any code here, everything here is just implementing the delegate stuff. Like if I died, what do I do if I died? And let's see some reactions. So if I do this, this, so this is the other attack, and here it's the owner died, because in the let's see, on owner died, here I just set up the physics blend weight to 1 because I want to the ragdoll to override the animation, and I set it to true. Then I will simulate the bodies from the pelvis downward and so on. That's everything. Let's do the other. Okay, first of all, let's remove the knee attack because it is delaying me. So let's go to the chain attack. Let's remove this, and now let's perform the other execution that is done by the custom execution. So click, I'm going to hit, so the target will warp to the proper position depending on the offset in the contextual animation, and then perform the execution, and all both of the characters will sync their attacks according to whatever synchronization logic you put here. But for my system itself, the synchronization is happening with a different method. You will have, which I think it's better, because here you cannot choose when the other one will start. But my system, if you have the jab execution, I have this chart area. So at this moment I want the target to stop doing anything but wait for me until I reach the execution reaction sync notify. Then here the target will start playing the reaction. Why I did this? Because you can see that if we went to the reaction for this one, and you can see that the animation itself is playing the reaction from frame 0, so we cannot play this animation directly using a contextual animation. We need to wait for the chart to finish before we can be able to play our falling animation. So here, and then I will fall. So if we played it directly together, the animation will play together, so the target will fall before even the charge is finished. So this is the main idea here. You will use the animation reaction sync. And don't worry about forgetting anything, because the animation report will always tell you if you have forgotten something, and this is depending on where you use the animation. So if the animation is being placed in an execution reaction, it will require a specific set of notifies, and it will tell you that, hey, you forgot to put those notifies, please put them, so the animation will play properly. And I think this is everything. I will start to record a playlist tutorial for showcasing how to use this system, and then we will release it to the marketplace, and hopefully it will help you make your game or your combat in a much easier way, and a designer friendly method or workflow or pipeline. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and see you next time.